So as heavily requested, I am here to bring you my full thoughts on a lesser known fragrance from Salvatore Ferragamo, though a relatively new release that came out in 2020. Apparently, a lot of people, when I made my last Scent of the Day post on it, had not even heard about it. I'm talking about Salvatore Ferragamo Oud. So stay tuned. As usual, quick looks at the box and bottle. As you can see, standard Salvatore Ferragamo Pour Homme Fair. Only you see here it says Pour Homme Oud. This is a 100 ml. There's an interesting looking print on the sides as well as the top. Not a whole lot of info on the back. Some info on the bottom with a batch code stamped in. Nothing special. As far as the bottle, it is the standard oddly shaped, slightly twisted Salvatore Ferragamo Pour Homme bottle, only this is a brown gradient design. Salvatore Ferragamo at the top. Fragrance information and batch code on the bottom. Their standard little cap that I wouldn't advise picking up from. And then decent atomizer. Let's get into the scent. So I'll have the notes on screen for you guys, and it may look familiar to some people. Salvatore Ferragamo Oud. So this is the same note breakdown that is on Fragrantica, that is on Base Notes, that is on Parfumo. So this is the note breakdown. It is pretty much identical, and notice for the name being Oud, there is no Oud, but it sure looks like Bulgari Man in Black. I mean, it's the same note breakdown. It's not the exact same scent, though. As strange as that may sound, in my last weekly rotation where I featured this, I said it falls somewhere in between Man in Black and Man Black Orient. Now, Man Black Orient does have Oud. What's different is this has a lot more leather and spice versus the boozy floral touch that Man in Black has. So that's the biggest difference for me with Ferragamo Oud. It has the same note breakdown, but the different balance. Here it's very spices, leather, and earthy tobacco forward. I find the booziness takes a pretty good back seat. It's not as in the forefront as Man in Black. The florals, the tuberose, and the iris, while on Man in Black, that's pretty much what the dry down is for me on my skin. I pretty much don't detect them on my skin when I wear this. This is leather dominant, and it's a rough and rugged kind of animalic smoky leather. The spices are in your face, and like I said, the tobacco here, very present, very earthy herbal tobacco, a dirty type of tobacco. So to be honest with you, this has a less elegant approach than Man in Black, whereas Man in Black is known to have more of a sophisticated appeal where you can dress that one up pretty well, hence the name even, Man in Black. It has a smoothness to it because of the booziness and the floral tones. While this has the same exact note breakdown, the balance of the notes is completely different. This is more rough, rugged, and animalic. I'm not going to sit here and say more daring take, but it kind of is a little bit. While still dresses up, I feel like this can be a bit more casual because it's not quite as refined the way the scent profile works out on Ferragamo Oud. Like I said, the most dominating scent to me in the opening, I do get the leather, but it's mostly spices and earthy tobacco, is with a little touch of the rum, is what I'm greeted with in the top. As it starts to dry down, the benzoin comes in a little bit for a slight vanillic touch, but it's mostly leather, spices, and tobacco still. It's actually quite linear on my skin. It doesn't change a whole lot, though a smoky nuance does start to come in the early dry down that I attribute to a combination of the leather and the tobacco, even though there's no smoky notes or anything like that in here. But it could be that Gaiac wood playing a part because that can give off a bit of a smoky nuance. So that's probably a combination of things with Gaiac wood, leather, and tobacco. And like I said, it's quite animalic for being a designer fragrance. And if you found Man in Black to be just not really your cup of tea, this might not be your cup of tea either because it is the same notes, just a different balance. But if you like Man in Black but it left you wanting more, this might be the answer for you because, like I said, it's a much more rough and rugged, earthy, animalic approach to that scent profile. It's not smooth and refined. And the floral tones, like I said, I don't even get them, to be honest with you. I don't pick up tuberose or iris at all on my skin, whereas with Man in Black, that's what the dry down is for me. Now, in regards to performance, for this, above average, 7 to 8 hour range on my skin. What's special about it for me is the consistent projection. It's not room filling, but it is pretty heavy. I mean, like, the first 2 hours are quite potent on my skin, wafting, just kind of all in my own face, surrounding me. How far out does it reach? I'm not sure. I've never gotten a compliment outside of my wife telling me if she thought she liked it or not, which, for your information, she does like the way this smells, but she does prefer Man in Black. It's a little bit smoother. She likes the way that one smells a bit more. So the wife's point of view, she leans more towards Man in Black, where, to be honest with you, because I like Black Orient more than Man in Black, and this leans more towards what Black Orient's about without having the oud, strangely enough, because this says oud. There's no oud. It's more animalic and spicy. Therefore, I actually like this one more than Man in Black, and the projection really adds to it because this is a little bit more in your face. When I want something in your face, it's this type of scent profile. When I want something to be a bit louder and more pronounced, something a little more edgy. This is more of an edgy fragrance. A nice, fresh, bright fragrance, I don't need that to be in your face. The projection suits this scent profile for my taste. My opinion, of course. So projection on the, average to slightly heavy side, especially on the heavy side for the first 2 hours, and then it stays pretty consistent for a few more hours following. It takes a long time to become a skin scent, and then to really fade off of my skin's more in that 8 hour range to where it's, barely there kind of thing. So performance is above average across the board on it. So if that's one of those utmost important categories to you above scent, you'll like this one because it does perform a little bit better than Man in Black, and it's a little bit more rough and rugged and animalic than Man in Black. Overall thoughts on this one, I think it's a must try anywhere you can sample it. I don't know where you can sample it because I was surprised by the overwhelming amount of comments of I've never seen this before. Where do I get this? That was a lot on my Scent of the Day post on Instagram, and even some of the comments on the last weekly rotation it was featured in. A lot of people surprisingly have not heard about this one. It's not like it's some secret release. It came out last year to a decent amount of hype leading into the release, and then it just kind of faded into the background and doesn't really get talked about. Even I bought it the very beginning of 2021 and didn't wear it until now because it's really cooling down. I didn't really start wearing it until now. And it's quite a nice fragrance. I picked it up from fragrancebuy.ca. I'm not sure if there's a stock. Shame on me, I didn't check before I started filming this video. But it does share the scent profile to Bulgari Man in Black. So if you like Man in Black, you'll probably like this. It's kind of redundant, but what's different here is this is much more smooth and floral and boozy. And this is more animalic, leather, smokiness, earthy tobacco, and spice dominant. The spices are heady, hefty, and in your face the whole way through. The spices never seem to go away on my skin, and even when they do, the leather's right there because it's an animalic leather to really take up the slack and leave that edgy in your face type of appeal that it had in the beginning. It's in your face from start to finish, and I like that about it. And when I say in your face, it's because it's a brash scent profile. The way the balance was done, this is a much more brash fragrance. So if you're looking for that, you might want to get your hands on this. But that's my thoughts and feelings on Salvatore Ferragamo Homme Oud, which actually doesn't even have any oud. And until next time, do me a real quick favor, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. So I do appreciate all the feedback. I love hearing from you guys. How many of you have gotten a chance to try this? What do you think about it? Did this review pique your interest, and are you now interested? Did you know it was the same note breakdown as Man in Black? Disappointing at first when I first realized it, but when I smelled it, it's actually better than Man in Black in my opinion. If you're looking for more of a brash, animalic version of that scent, you'll like this. And until next time, I will say, if you get your hands on Salvatore Ferragamo Oud and you give it a spray now, you might end up thanking me later. Have a good one, guys.